I am live. Hello, YouTube, and anyone who's coming over from Facebook to watch. Trying to keep this to 20 minutes. Just something I wanted to share. Speaking of someone who's been, those who know me know that I have been opposed, very much opposed, to these lockdown style measures from the beginning, going all the way back to March. And I'm opposed to them now. There was an article that came out, I believe it was published in the New York Times right at the start, written by a gentleman by the name of Dr. David Katz. He's a past president of the American Center for Lifestyle Medicine, Yale graduate, bona fides. He wrote an article, an op-ed piece in the New York Times right at the start saying that the cure is worse than the disease. I didn't read it at the time, but it echoed my sentiments if you want to look it up. But anyway, things are so polarized right now, and everyone's in their echo chamber. Those like myself who are opposed to lockdown measures are just consuming anti-lockdown content, and there's plenty out there. And those who are very much in favor of lockdown, many who think, we're not doing enough, that we should lock down even harder, they're also in their echo chamber. And the two sides don't talk to each other. And I tend to engage with everyone. I actually like it when I come across someone who doesn't share my opinion, if we can have a mature, reasonable conversation. And it can happen on occasion. It's rare. It happened. I got into a discussion on Facebook with someone I do not know, who took exception to my anti-lockdown opinions. But we ended up having a very meaningful conversation. And one of the things it was illuminating, there's a meme or a post that's going around on social media. And for those of us who have an anti-lockdown stance, it caters to our bias perfectly. And it's the question is, why has the flu disappeared all of a sudden? Which hasn't completely disappeared, but the case numbers are minimal. What's happened to the flu? And the answer is, well, it's because everyone's wearing masks, they're washing their hands, and they're keeping socially distant, physically distant from other people. Oh, okay. So then the question becomes, well, then why are the COVID numbers going up so high? And this is the apparent contradiction is, well, it's because people aren't wearing their masks, they're not keeping distant, and they're not washing their hands enough. So, if it works for one, shouldn't it work for the other? And here's the thing, and this is where science comes in. For what it's worth, full disclosure up front, I'm not one, while I am very much anti-lockdown, while masks, I think, have absolutely zero proven, there's no direct evidence to suggest that masks do any good. And while those are my opinions, I'm not claiming that, I'm not one of the ones who's saying that this whole COVID thing is a hoax. It doesn't exist. I do believe it exists, absolutely. Anyway, so on to the science, with the whole question of why are these mitigation, why are these, hand washing, distancing, masking, why is it working to eliminate the flu? And why isn't it working to eliminate COVID? And there's a plausible explanation, I believe now, full disclosure up front, not an epidemiologist, virologist, no degrees in infectious disease, taken some university level undergraduate science courses. And hey Chris, nothing is surprising me anymore at all. Anyway, why the contradiction? We'll get back on track. Why the contradiction between the two? And the science points to something. Now, with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that leads to COVID, it is said to have a 5-day incubation period. 5 days. So I am around an individual who is infected, they infect me, it can take, give or take, 5 days for me to display symptoms. With influenza viruses, on the other hand, the incubation period is much shorter. The incubation period is said to be 1 or 2 days. So I become infected with SARS-CoV-2, but I don't know it. I don't know I've been infected. I don't feel sick for 5 days. And it is also said, the science is saying, that 1 to 2 days prior to the onset of symptoms, that I am highly infectious. I'm not presenting any symptoms. I am highly infectious a day or two before the symptoms come on. Of course, the only way you find that out is when the symptoms come on. And again, according to the science, roughly 40% of people are completely asymptomatic. Symptoms never develop. And there's a lot of evidence suggesting now that asymptomatic transmission is pretty much non-existent. Study done out of China, something like 10 million people. I have my reservations about anything that comes out of China. I don't trust dictatorships to give accurate and honest information. But with that being said, doesn't mean you throw everything in the garbage. It's being reported elsewhere. A lot of people with epidemiology, virology, infectious disease backgrounds are saying that asymptomatic transmission is incredibly rare. The difficulty is, of course, you won't know without a testing positive. You won't know whether you're an asymptomatic person or not. And so I, get infected a day or two before my symptoms develop. I'm highly infectious. With the flu, symptoms come on much quicker. And we've all known forever, if you got the flu, stay home. Don't take it into work, don't take it into school, don't take it out into the community. And we've done, for the most part, we do that. And that's why I think, we're seeing flu has not been completely eliminated, but it's dropped to almost nothing. So kind of takes away that bullet in the gun for the, the anti-lockdown. However, I'm sure it'll still get plenty of play about why, why is the flu pretty much disappeared? Why isn't it working for COVID? Well, there's appears to be, at least to me, if someone has a better background in epidemiology and all the rest, they've got a better background in that, and want to illuminate on that further, by all means, throw a comment down. Where are we now? We're at I told you I'm still anti-lockdown, but those who know me as well know. Oh, I'm like a dog on a bone. I have a bit of a obsessive compulsive bent when I get fixated on something, and COVID is my fixation right now. We had on December 31st, they reported 3,328 cases, of which that came from the result of 63,858 tests. So once again, 3,328 cases, the result of 63,858 cases, or rather tests, and that's a positivity rate of 5.2%. So roughly 5% positive, 95% negative, and that's pretty much what we've been seeing. I won't go on about the false positivity rate because, we are seeing increases in hospitalizations. We've got, in this province, we have 21,617 deemed active cases, infections, whatever you want to call it. And out of that, the number they're publishing right now is 1,235 who are in hospitalization. And again, the number's a little higher than it has been. It's 5.8%. So of identified cases, positive tests, 5.8% of them are in hospital, and 1,235 includes those in ICU. It includes those on ventilator. It's a global number. I don't have the breakdown by ICU. I think ICU is 250-ish. I don't know. The total number of cases that we've had 10, 11 months into this global pandemic, 182,159 total cases, again, province of Ontario, province of approximately 14.6 million, and that is 1.24%. So if you haven't tested positive for COVID, you're part of the 98.76%. Darn near 99% of us haven't had it, including myself. Now, going on to lockdown, I'm still opposed because that's the science. These are just numbers. What do you do with them? Those are value judgments. And just because someone is anti-lockdown doesn't mean that you have to turn a blind eye to the science. Two people can look at the same data and reach two different conclusions based on value judgments. And one of the things that I find vexing, annoying, irritating is there seems to be a narrative of, well, this is a pandemic. This is a pandemic, and this is what you do during a pandemic. Of course, my phone goes off while I'm doing this, so I'll let it finish ringing. Get it after. Well, in my lifetime, I'm 54 years of age, born in 1966. So this is the third declared pandemic of my lifetime. At least, oh man.
You're too much on the computer.
Is that you calling me?
Yeah.
Okay, what's up? I'm doing a live thing.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to do, to bug you.
Is that why you did it?
Yep.
Can I finish?
Yep.
Neighbor. Welcome to lockdown in my neighborhood. I love it. Hence why I think I'm doing okay. Mental health and all the rest. Oh, that's good. Anyway, this is the third pandemic of my lifetime. 1968 to 1970 was the Hong Kong flu pandemic. I've spoken about it before. Another one happened in 2009. That was the H1N1 global pandemic. My phone. Get messages. And those were deadly pandemics. Annual flu. The reporting of this, with the media always talking about the deadly coronavirus. Well, influenza is a deadly virus. All you have to do is look at 2018 Statistics Canada. You can go search it out. Top 10 causes of death from 2018. And what you'll find is that the number 6 leading cause of death in 2018 was influenza. 8,511 people died. So lower than what we've seen from COVID. But, it's still a big number. And we never did anything this. And the ironic thing is, now it would appear that if we'd done what we're doing now, hand washing, distancing, lockdowns, all this stuff, that the numbers, we could have saved a lot of lives, maybe, or at least extended lives. We all know now that Rod Phillips, who's Ontario's Minister of Health, Adrian, go to bed.
No.
It's the dog. Rod Phillips, Ontario's Minister of Finance, was down in St. Bart's, down in the French West Indies, down in the Caribbean, which personally I don't have an issue with. Again, opposed to these lockdown measures. So if someone wants to go down to the Caribbean, God bless them. Go. I wish I could. I just, I can't afford the 14-day quarantine requirement when I get back. Poor Rod Phillips is going to be, life's going to be rough. He's been, He's resigned his position as Ontario's finance minister. So he's going to have to try and scrape by. I think it's about $118,000 a year. That's an MPP, member of provincial parliament's salary. As a cabinet minister, I think it's up around 165. So he's taking a hit. You know, he might not be able to go to St. Bart's next year. He might have to pick a cheaper island. From what I understand, the French West Indies, that's high end. Myself, I go to the cheap Caribbean. I go to Cuba. I've been 3 times, and I would love to be there right now. But a 14-day quarantine upon my return makes it impossible. So what do we value as a society? We've never done this before. People talk about lockdown as if, well, this is a pandemic. You can't do that. This is a pandemic. We have had pandemics before. Again, Hong Kong flu, H1N1, and we never did any of this before. This is brand new. We've never done this during a pandemic before. And this is not the first pandemic we've ever had. And it is not the Spanish flu. It's not on the same continent. It's not in this, it's another galaxy. The Hong Kong flu, most estimate, or not Hong Kong rather, but the Spanish flu estimates put the death toll from that influenza virus down around, it's got to be my neighbor again, put the death toll from that at 55,000 over about a 2-year period. And Canada's population back then was 9 point something million. So 4 times, you got basically more than 4 times as many people now. So, to have comparative numbers, it would have to be 200-ish thousand, which is what they were initially predicting. They were predicting in the first year of this pandemic that it was going to be worse than the Spanish flu. We were going to have 100,000 to 200,000 people dying, 200,000 if we did nothing, if we didn't do these mitigation measures, these lockdowns. With the lockdowns, it was supposed to be lowered down to about 100,000. So the science on that was garbage. No one talks about it anymore, but the Imperial College London estimated the infection fatality rate at something like 3.5%. And now no one's quoting that figure. Iceland has pegged it for their population after doing massive testing that's published in Nature. They pegged it down around 0.3%. I've seen other estimates up 0.5, 0.7, but nowhere near 3.5. It's nowhere. This is not the Spanish flu. So, January 11th is coming. The schools need to open back up. I'm afraid that they won't, because these numbers, 3,328 cases reported today. And I'm not surprised by it. I've been saying, if you've been watching any of my videos, I've been saying, by the end of January, we're probably going to be up over 5,000, and it wouldn't surprise me to see us at 7. I'm anticipating it. Forewarned is forearmed. What do we value? We have a bug that's out there, a potentially deadly virus, just like the influenza viruses. Those are deadly viruses that circulate every year. Do we read the Hospital for Sick Kids report in Toronto? They put out the report, about the incredible damage lockdown measures, closing schools does to our children. But we're ignoring that. So are we saying that we value our children less than, that's where my rub is. Anyway, my neighbor's bugging me, and he's going to do it again. So peace, everybody. God bless, and Happy New Year 2021. I'm hoping it's better than 2020 was. We shall see. Stay strong.